This training module will provide you with the necessary steps to be able to complete Task 2 of an APPR plan under Education Law, Section 3012D, the Transition Student Performance Required Subcomponent for Teachers. Here are the objectives that we want to accomplish with this module presentation. In this module, you will learn how to complete Task 2 Transition, the student performance required subcomponent of an APPR plan for teachers during the transition period 2016-17 through 2018-19 is completed in the SED Monitoring APPR portal. First, we will begin with an introduction to alternate SLOs. During the 2015-16 through 2018-19 school years, pursuant to the requirements of Subpart 30-3.17 of the Rules of the Board of Regents, Grades 3 through 8 ELA and Math state assessments and state-provided growth scores may only be used for advisory purposes and may not be used for the purpose of calculating transition scores and ratings. Beginning in 2016-17, if excluding the grade 3 through 8 ELA and Math state assessments and any state-provided growth scores results in no remaining student performance measures, districts or BOCES must develop alternate SLOs based on assessments that are not based on the 3 through 8 ELA and Math state assessments for the required subcomponent of student performance category for affected teachers during the transition period. In the Task 2 transition of the SED Monitoring APPR portal, a district or BOCES will list the measures and assessments used as alternate SLOs by teachers affected during the transition period. This training module will present how to input this information into the SED Monitoring APPR portal for Task 2 transition. Next, we will take a look at entering alternate SLOs for Task 2.2 through 2.10 transition. As previously noted, alternate SLOs must be set for all teachers for whom there are no remaining student performance measures once the grades 3 through 8 ELA and Math state assessments and any state-provided growth scores are excluded. The transition period is only applicable during the 2016-17 through 2018-19 school years. The same measures available in Task 2 Original may be used for alternate SLOs. Teacher-specific results, a measure of the growth of the students on a teacher's roster for a particular course. School or program-wide group, team, or linked results, the growth of students measured across a teacher's building or program. District or BOCES-wide results, the growth of students measured across the district or BOCES programs. The district or BOCES will first enter a measure and select assessments. The assessment options for Task 2 transition are listed as checkboxes, which allow for the selection of multiple assessments of the same type. Note that the grades 3 through 8 ELA and Math state assessments and state-provided growth scores are not available as options for alternate SLOs. Finally, the applicable courses that correspond to the measure and assessment combination indicated should be checked. Teacher-specific results are a measure of the growth of the students on a teacher's roster for a particular course. The assessments selected must be administered within each of the courses selected. The example shown illustrates the use of a teacher-specific measure for Grade 4 ELA and Math based on AIMSweb. School or program-wide, group, team, or linked results measure the growth of students across a teacher's building or program. For purposes of alternate SLOs, school or program-wide, group, team, or linked results may be based on any state or region's assessment other than the assessments in grades 3 through 8 ELA or math and or any state-approved, locally or third-party vendor-developed assessment. If the option for school or program-wide, group, team, or linked results is chosen, the checkbox menu will allow for the selection of multiple assessments. The district or BOCES should select all assessments that are used as part of the alternate SLO. The district or BOCES will first select a measure and the assessments used as part of the alternate SLO. The assessment options for Task 2 transition are listed as checkboxes, which allow for the selection of multiple assessments of the same type, state or regions, locally developed or third party. Note that the grades 3 through 8 ELA and math state assessments and state provided growth scores are not available as options for alternate SLOs. Finally, the applicable courses that use the measure and assessment combination indicated as their alternate SLO should be checked. The example above shows the use of a school-wide measure based on the New York State Grade 4 Science Assessment for grades K to 4 ELA and math teachers. District or BOCES-wide results measure the growth of students across the district or BOCES programs. If the option for district or BOCES-wide results is chosen, the checkbox menu will allow for the selection of multiple assessments. The district or BOCES should select all assessments that apply to the measure. The district or BOCES will first enter a measure and select assessments. The assessment options for Task 2 transition are listed next to checkboxes, which allow for the selection of multiple assessments of the same type, state or regions, locally developed or third party. Note that the grades 3 through 8 ELA and math state assessments and state provided growth scores are not available as options for alternate SLOs. Finally, the applicable courses that correspond to the measure and assessment combination indicated should be checked. The example included shows the use of a district-wide measure based on the Common Core English and Algebra Regents exams for all courses in the district. Please note that state-approved third-party assessments and state-approved locally developed assessments will be added to the corresponding drop-down menus as they are approved by the department through the assessment RFQ. Locally developed or third-party assessments can only be included in a district or BOCES APPR plan if they have been approved through the department's RFQ. If the assessment that the district or BOCES wishes to use has not yet been approved, the district or BOCES may contact the assessment provider for more information. Not all locally developed course-specific assessments are available for use by all districts. Make sure to secure appropriate permission before selecting an assessment. Next, we will take a look at entering alternate SLOs for Task 2.10 transition if needed. Task 2.10 transition includes an option for other courses as listed in original Task 2.10. This option can be used if the alternate SLO measure and assessment combination applies equally to all other courses as listed in Task 2.10. If other courses need to be described differently than they were in Task 2.10, i.e., if an alternate SLO measure is selected for some but not all courses listed in Task 2.10 Transition. Each course can be entered in Task 2.10 Transition with the corresponding measure and assessments, as applicable. In this case, the other courses as listed in original Task 2.10 box should be left unchecked in Task 2.10 Transition. If the Task 2.2 through 2.10 Transition option for other courses as listed in original Task 2.10 does not apply, then you should use Task 2.10 Transition as applicable for all other teachers in additional grades and subjects that have SLOs. For each course, you will indicate the following from the drop-down menus. Column 1, lowest grade that corresponds to the course. Column 2, highest grade that corresponds to the course. Column 3, subject of the course. Column 4, measure used. Once a measure is selected, select assessments using the checkboxes in the 3 columns to the right. Information related to measures and assessments for alternate SLOs discussed in slides 6 through 9 is also applicable in Task 2.10 Transition. Courses may be combined into one entry for any groups of teachers using the same measure and assessment combination. For example, all courses not named above as shown in the screenshot. To add additional courses, click on the green Add Row button. All courses should be entered directly into the SED Monitoring APPR portal. An attachment is not available for additional courses. Unnecessary rows can be deleted using the checkbox in the final column. Any checked rows will be deleted upon saving. We will now move on to discuss the HEDI scoring process for alternate SLOs. A detailed process for assigning a 0 to 20 score and HEDI rating to teachers is no longer required. A series of assurances in Task 2.13 Original has replaced the fill-in text boxes used in the previous review room portal for these processes. Additionally, all districts or BOCES must use the state-determined HEDI scoring bands when assigning a 0 to 20 score and rating to teachers. These scoring bands are already included in Task 2.11, and therefore no conversion chart should be uploaded. Please note, in those circumstances where a teacher's SLO is based on a small n-size population, for example, a self-contained special education classroom with students taking the NISA, and the district or BOCES chooses not to use state-determined HEDI scoring bands, the teacher's scores will be calculated using the process specified by the department in APPR guidance. In the following section, we will look at the elements required to ensure the task is complete. To save information entered at any point throughout the task, even if incomplete, please click the blue Save button. The survey navigation box will inform you of the task completion status. If the task is not complete, a yellow triangle will appear next to the Task 2 transition in the survey navigation, and the incomplete section of the task will be highlighted in red. If the task is complete, a green checkbox will appear next to Task 2 transition in the survey navigation box. Once the green checkbox appears, the district may click on the green Save and Continue button to proceed. If the task is incomplete, the survey navigation menu may be used to move to another task. For additional information on APPR under Education Law 3012D, please visit the APPR 3012D page on the Engage New York website.